hey everybody. We got a bit of a schedule change. I still wanted to do a live show, even though the guest that we had on had to back out. He So at 9 o'clock last night, I got a message from him. He wanted to do an audio only interview, and so at like 9 o'clock at night, I had no time to shift and practice and figure out how to make that work and all that other stuff. So Christopher St. Booth will not be on tonight. I am gonna work on how to figure out how to do a show where like we can have him on but not on video, because I still want to do a live show because I want to ask questions and I want other people to ask questions too. So um, we are going to have him on still. Austin, the guest that was supposed to be on last week, is going to be on next week. Hopefully the internet connection and stuff is cleared up, and hopefully we work on that and get that out there. So I hate to sound like, like I'm scheduling these big guests and then they don't come on. It's just, I mean, just two fluke things right in a row. And at 9 o'clock at night last night, it was way too late to like try and schedule somebody else. So I wasn't even sure I was going to go on tonight, or we were going to go on tonight. But I decided I kind of want to like maybe talk about a topic that has kind of bothered me ever since I've gotten into the paranormal stuff. Because I've always kind of had a little conflict in the back of my head just because of the religion that that I have faith in and all that stuff. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit of geeky stuff. Actually, I show prep for like 15 minutes and we got the Bible out, so we got that going for us. We got some internet sources that I'll probably read directly from. But first, let's do a little housekeeping. So still September 18th, with Saturday, we are going to be out at the Oliver House with Togs, and we're going to be setting up at a table. There's the Midwest Parafest. It's put on by Chad Dye, I believe. And like I said, so we're going to be hanging out at the Togs table. We're going to have, we don't have anything to sell or anything like that, but we've got some DVDs that we're going to give away if you come up and ask for one. We're not just going to put a free sign on there, because then little kids tend to come up and just take everything that's free. And so, if you're interested in what we do, it's got a few little stories on it. I think like a brief Sylvania story. It's stuff that's on YouTube, but if you ever want it on DVD and, whatever. So you can stop by the table and pick that up. Togs is going to have some spirit bombs for sale, sage, coffee cups, t-shirts. Togs will have a lot more merchandise to sell. As you can see in the back, we got a brand new banner that we're going to be displaying. It's got a little glossy spot. I got to work out the crease in that. So let me turn the comments on here so that I can see who's here. And so we got Lisa here. How's it going? Shelly, how you doing? Don, Dana's here. Dad's here. And okay, so yeah, we might have some boo stickers to give out at the convention. I'm really like, and I understand, like, I'll be honest with you. So we were going to have Christopher St. Booth on. He's the filmmaker behind the new movie that was shot at the Collingwood. It's called Never Blink. And like, I was so looking forward to having him on tonight. And, because, I researched his other stuff and his other films and things like that. And like, so he's got some fiction work, but he also has a lot of documentary stuff. And one of the interesting documentaries that he did was, it's The Exorcist File. It's The Haunted Boy, I think it's called, but it's called The Exorcist File, The Haunted Boy. And it's they actually go into some of the locations of the real story behind the movie The Exorcist. Like, they go into the hospital where the boy was kept for a while, and they were trying to do, the exorcism process on him. And they went other places too. There's another documentary I watched. It's called Children of the Grave 2. It's where they visited various, like, mental hospitals that were, or orphanages that kept kids. So it was kind of the focus of that. That's a really good show too. Those are both on Amazon Prime, I think is where I watched them. Actually, the Exorcist one, I think, is on Discovery Plus. So Shelly, you must have read, is there a book then for the Children of the Grave that goes along with the movie? Go ahead and answer that in the comments if you would. So yeah, so like, I was like, when he texted me that last night, at first my initial reaction was like, I was really, really pissed. Like, you got to be kidding me, man. But like, then I got to thinking about it, and I understand, like, these people, they have a brand to protect because they're national filmmakers. It's not like my buddy down the street making YouTube videos. These guys are, they're I believe they even live in Hollywood. So I mean, they've got a brand to protect, and anytime they do any video stuff, it's it's got to be under their control, and I totally understand that. And so like I said, at first I was really really pissed, but then I thought about it, and it makes sense to me. But like I said, we're still talking, and he's willing to do the show. We just got to figure out a way to do it audio only. So hopefully before we take our break before the wedding, um we can get him on. Like I said, Austin is going to come on next week, and hopefully we don't have all the internet snafus. Here's Shelly's comments about okay, so the haunted boy must be where the book is. And that building, that hospital that they investigated was in St. Louis. I think the story takes place, and if Harold is watching, he's going to kill me, but I think the story takes place in like Maryland or something like that. Some New England town is where the real or the movie story takes place. So anyway, I mean, look up his stuff. They do a lot of cool stuff. And I also too, like, another aspect that I wanted to talk to them about, and we still will, is that when they film a movie, a lot of times I think they search out haunted locations to film at. So, we talked to our friend Adam, and he definitely confirmed that paranormal stuff happened at the Collingwood while they were filming there. And, everybody witnessed it. And, so things did happen there. I know they wrapped it up at another location because the ending didn't come out quite how they wanted, or didn't have the look, or just, something wasn't right about the ending. So they reshot it a couple weeks ago, and they went to a different haunted location. So, we're still stoked about the movie. Again, it's called Never Blink. And if you go to the Facebook page, Never Blink Movie, I believe, is the page. Go on there and follow what's going on, the updates on that. They've got some trailers, and they're still looking for a little bit of funding. Everything is shot from what I understand, and they need a little bit more money. So they do have kind of it's not a GoFundMe, but it's, something like that for filmmakers and creators. A lot of people use it. So, so that's that. It's so we'll have them on. And also too, we definitely want to be involved if they do any kind of premiere at the Collingwood, which I think they're talking about doing. We definitely want to hit that and check that out. So let me think if you guys have any questions too, we can kind of shift this into a free for all like last week. But like I said, I do have a topic that I kind of want to talk about. Let me get a drink. My throat is dry. Yeah, Shelly says she donated towards the movie, Never Blink, and they got like a 5-minute trailer video that then will take you, or tells you the link, or takes you there or something, to where they got different price points, $20, $50. For a certain amount of money, you can be in the movie. They've got props that they're selling that so you can buy the actual movie props. They're a one of a kind deal. So okay, there we go. So yeah, go still check that out. Like I said, I'm not mad at them. And, and to be honest with you, I was kind of actually flattered that they'd even agree to come on a little show like mine, but they did. So we're going to try and hold them to it. So, okay. So tonight's topic, I've got to say this, because a lot of what I might say, like, really might piss people off. But you have to keep in mind that I'm very open-minded. I in no way think that my views are the way of the world. Oh, I see Adam joined us. Like, I don't want everybody to think that I think it's my way and I'm right and everybody else is wrong, because there's a lot of religious elements to paranormal investigations and things like that. So, and really the only one that I have a Christian background, so that's the religion that I follow. And not really even the religion, but more so the philosophies and the, being a Christian. Because I think one of my big issues with the church is, I think that churches they've taken the New Testament of the Bible, which is supposed to replace the Old Testament, and they've turned it into a new rule book. And so I think, in a church that I went to, and I'm not bashing the church or anything like that, but like, it was almost there was a big feeling of guilt all the time because there was no way you could live up to there's a lot of lessons in the Bible, but there's no way that any human can live up to living that way. Otherwise, there's you'd have to be perfect, and there's obviously only been one perfect human alive. Um so I think, like I said, a lot of churches then tend to take the New Testament and they turn it into a rule book. They run around, and I did it too. I did it for, a couple years. You run around judging people. You run around saying, well, oh my God, that guy is a paranormal investigator. Surely he can't be a Christian as well. And so the church that I went to, kind of like when I started getting into this, how's it going, Butch? How you doing? When I started getting into this, the church definitely was against what I was doing. They think anything paranormal you don't need to be involved with. It's all demons or angels, and the demons are mimicking humans, and they've got a lot of things that sound like they could be right, but if you actually then go into the Bible, like there's nothing behind it, or at least I haven't found it yet. And so there again, like I said, I've got to say that I personally am a Christian, and if you're going to follow the Christian religion, you have to believe in the Bible. And I guess technically too, if you're going to be a Catholic, you have to believe in the Bible, because that is the holy text of those two religions. So, I'm gonna pull a lot of Bible stuff out, and here again, I'm not judging anybody. I'm not saying, you know, I'm not saying being the parent, like I don't think that because I'm a paranormal investigator that I do this stuff that I'm going to hell. Like 4 or 5 years ago, yeah, I actually did. I thought, yep, you can't mess with that stuff. You're going to go to hell and blah, blah, blah. So, and a lot of it too is based on, sermons that you'd sit through. And, you know, even I went to a Baptist school when I was a kid, and we heard how bad rock and roll music was. I mean, it was, if I sat through, 50 sermons on, you know, every piece of rock music was created from the devil and for the devil, and, just to worship the devil and blah, blah, blah. So we, you know, the album 2112, where the guy's going like this against the pentagram. I mean, we were told that was just super duper evil, and clearly that's a satanic album and blah blah blah. And oh, Jerry's on. How you doing? And but if you listen to the album, like, it's not evil, bad, nothing at all. It's none of that. It's a story about a dude who finds a guitar in the future and doesn't understand why the government won't let him play it. So if that's evil, then I guess I'm wrong. So there again, I'm going to say a lot of the things that, like, I don't know if I should believe, but really I don't, because okay, I got to establish this too. This is kind of a long build up, because I don't want people to think I'm judging anybody or anything. But like, what I learned by going to that church is that, in no way does God want you running around judging people. Like, we're supposed to love everybody. Like, if the church teaches against homosexuality or something, for example, like, it doesn't say go out and bash them. It doesn't say go out and stone them. It does in the Old Testament, which was replaced by the New Testament, but that's here nor there. But like, in no way does it say that I am to judge you for anything that you do, because, and I've told a lot of Christians this too, that, like, the Bible says a heck of a lot more about gossip and talking shit behind people's back than it does about homosexuality. So, Shelley agrees with that. It's not our job to judge, and it's not. That being said, I have been through a period of time in which where I was a little judgy, but then again, I've also been on the opposite end of that I wasn't Christian enough. So, I also experienced that. Adam's got a comment here. What's he saying? If Jesus coming back after dying was okay, but ghosts and spirits are demonic. Right. That's, and there again, in doing my research and in what I think I know anyway, is that I lost my train of thought. Okay, really, like, okay, where I was going was that a lot of the sermons, like, they put out these theories and thoughts about the paranormal, but they don't go but they don't, like, quote scripture that talks about it. Now, there is an example. In fact, there are scriptures that completely like, talk about the spirit realm and how real it is. So, I don't know. It's definitely a real thing. Um, and Adam, I'm going to I'm not going to butt heads with you, but I'm going to say, I guess, what the Christian religion says about that is that okay, I got to turn my phone off or something. It keeps going off and distracting me. But so the first sermon that I sat through, and me and the pastor of the church that I used to go to, the conversation we had, he brought up a Bible verse. It was Hebrews 9:27, I think, or 9:17, something like that. Whatever it is. But it says, "It is appointed a man to die once. Immediately he is sent to judgment." So, according to that scripture, and I took his word for it, and oh, that makes sense. So that, as soon as you die, you're not roaming around the earth and this and that and the other thing. And it's, you're either going to heaven or hell right away. It's like, so yeah, that proves that there's no ghosts and spirits. But then again, and I went back, a couple years after hearing that. And if you actually when he read to me that scripture, it's really not in the context of paranormal or the spirit world or any of that. So it's an example where a scripture has been taken out of context. And that's where a lot of Christians and people get in trouble, is they take things out of context, twist it to how they want it, and then you can pretty much condemn or promote anything you want. But it's so that scripture there was not in context at all. And so I got to thinking, it's okay, so am I back in my high school days where I'm hearing that, the Rush 2112 album is demonic because it's got this guy on it? The Bible does say something about, and there's an example of where it doesn't really, you should be relying on God, not on, fortune tellers or, things like that to give you an advantage on what's coming in your future, so there is some truth to that. And who's to say too, that the ghosts and the spirits, okay, so they've died. But so we're not saying they're going to die a second time when they're judged. It's just, I don't know if they go, I don't know. There's a big, Catholics, I believe they call it purgatory. And, so, are we getting glimpses of purgatory? I do believe that, I do think too that demons do interact with us, but I believe angels do too. They have the capability as well. So, and, I do believe that demons try and trick us, but there's just one thing too that science has proven is that, let's say there's no such thing as intelligent spirits, you're not communicating with somebody who has passed away, but there's absolutely scientific proof to deal with the residual ghost that you see, so that's the earth doing it itself, and it has nothing to do with talking to demons or angels or anything like that. So I feel like I'm dragging this out because I'm kind of dancing around the issue a little bit, because I don't want people, and I'm going to say this 35 times because people are jumping in and going away and this and that, and the other thing. But I don't want people to think that I'm being judgy, but I'm definitely not one that I'm not a, and I know Carmen and I will disagree on this, and probably Adam and I do too, but I don't believe in a mixture of religions. And when I say religions, I'm not saying the way that the church has turned it into. I'm saying really the philosophy of Christianity absolutely conflicts with, the Muslim religion or Buddha or, a lot of the Native American beliefs and things like that. Hang on one second. Okay. Joe asked, well, how do we know we're not in purgatory now? Well, we absolutely could be. Who knows? So I'm definitely of the belief that, and see what separates the Christian religion from the other ones too, is that, hang on. What's up? Oh, okay. So Dana's joining us for a second to say hi. She's probably telling me, hey, you need to shut up. You're rambling. No. Who wanted to come in? But I think the what separates the Christian religion from other religions is the fact that you get to heaven through Christ, and that's the only way. You can't work hard enough to get there. You can't be a good enough person to get there. It's all about faith. And that was a big thing that I learned, that like, before I left that church, is that like, while going to that church, I was told, it's what you do and how you do it, and you're Christian enough or you're not Christian enough. But that's the exact opposite of what Christianity is supposed to be. It is all in your faith, and that's it. Because man, I really thought, because I got divorced, a couple years ago, and I legit thought I was going to hell because I was getting divorced. And like, I was scared. I thought, well, I guess it's over. I might as well just be a bad dude because I'm going to hell. And hang on one second. Okay, so we've kind of talked about that. And so I guess, so I conflicted with, as a Christian, should I be doing paranormal investigations? Should I be going into houses, trying to talk to the dead, trying to talk to, figure out if you got a demon in your house, or, which, that being said too, we should probably discuss that for a minute, because there's a lot of bullshit about demons too, that like, some people think, like, let's say you think you've got, okay, let's take the doll Annabelle, for example. There is no way that you can live with and manage a demon if you have a demon in your house. So in my opinion, that Annabelle doll is not currently possessed by a demon. Now, maybe it had some kind of attachment, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. But you cannot live in a house with a demon. You can't coexist, because you really think that you can control them? I know people talk about haunted items that they have. Like, I listened to a podcast once, and this lady was saying that, like, yeah, I've got these 3 haunted items, and these 3 are demonic, and these 4 are bad, and these 5 are good, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, there is no way that you can coexist with demons in your house. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, if someone here has a differing opinion on here, I'm definitely open to it. But there, there's no way you can control a demon. In fact, there was a story in the Bible where, shortly after Christ passed, died and rose from the dead, and the Christian religion started, some Jewish priests were running around exorcising demons in the name of Jesus, even though they didn't believe it. And it really, really, I'm going to let Dana handle the comments here, but it really, like, so the demons that they were trying to cast out realized that they were personally trying to cast them out, and they were not using the power of Jesus, because they didn't believe it. They were still Jewish priests. They were not Christians. They did not believe in the power of Christ. They were using his name. So what did the demons do? They jumped and beat him up, and the guys went running possessed, and, screaming, ran out of the house naked and beat up. So like, it's definitely not something that you should play around with. If you ever think you have a demonic encounter, you have to get a church involved. But I also don't think too that the only way is the Catholic exorcism. I mean, because, like, the apostles back in the New Testament, as they were running around doing their evangelical work, they didn't perform a rite of exorcism on demons. They just, like, and I'm sure it wasn't easy, like, I'm going to say this, but they just ran around and they cast them out themselves, because they had the power of God flowing through them, and they had the ability to do that. They didn't have to do a ritual. They didn't have to do this. They didn't have to do that. So, there again, I'm not saying that the rite of exorcism doesn't work or it's not good or anything like that. I'm just saying that, like, the Catholics don't have a monopoly on the way to get rid of demons. So I see we got some new people in here. And here again, I told you I'm going to repeat this like over and over and over. Don says not all demons are evil. I really want to understand why, according to the Christian religion, demons are evil. They're all fallen angels that rebelled against God, and they chose to go with Lucifer. So I mean, like, from the Christian religion specifically, Don, I don't agree with that. I mean, there again, tell me, if you've got something else to add to that, I'm definitely open to hear it. But so, man, I am just all over the place tonight with my thinking, because I've got a lot that I've wanted to say for a long time, but like I said, I've really been afraid to say it because I don't want to offend, like I said, I think I would probably, and Carmen and I have talked about it a little bit, and I don't think me and Adam have, but like they're really good friends of mine, and I'm not saying that they're going to hell and blah blah blah, but we just have different beliefs. And so I don't want to sound like I'm right and they're wrong, because I'll tell you what, if I had that, like, all the paranormal people would hate me, because a lot of people, they like to blend these religions together, and maybe they're right and I'm wrong. That's the thing. I will always say that I'm always open-minded. So let's see, what did Don have to say? According to society's demons, another. Yeah, that's pretty much what I was saying, Don, is that, you're right, according to other religions, but see, I don't know enough about, because I know, like, I think the Muslims believe in, like, the jinn, I think is what they call a demon, but I don't think all jinns are bad. But I shouldn't even be making statements like that, because I don't know. I don't know enough about the Muslim religion to know, like, what their beliefs are and their philosophies are about religion. Yeah, Don, and Don's right too. Of course, Christianity says a lot of things that many disagree with, and it's not the actual practiced Christianity, in my opinion. It is what people have turned the Christian religion into. Because I've seen a lot of really, really hokey stuff. I was in an evangelical church, and we did the talking in tongues and things like that, and so we were, but there's a lot of other churches too that are evangelical churches that have, people writhing around like snakes on the ground, people barking like dogs and saying it's in the name of Christ. And it's like, I've watched a lot of videos of a lot of things that people think, are in the name of Christ. And it's like, dude, like, I don't know, maybe that's my spiritual gift, is discernment. Because, like, there is no way that you can tell me sitting there barking like a dog that is an act of God. Like, that is not. I see that you're just sitting there barking like a dog because you want people to think that, you're having some great religious experience. Should we have a guest on the show to discuss? We probably should maybe sometime do a show and have, some other religious people on. A lot of church people, though, they don't like, that's the problem too, is a lot of the church people don't like to associate with the paranormal stuff at all, so they won't even do it. But so getting back to it too, I've seen okay, so where was I going with this? I've seen a lot of goofy stuff in the name of the church. I've seen okay, so we went to a concert one night. I'm going to put this away. So I went to a concert one night. It was I was on the worship team at the church that I went to. And so I've, like I said, I've seen a lot of the evangelical stuff and this and that. But one of the songs we did a lot of covers from one of these bands that they were at oh crap, that Pastor Pitt's church out on Reynolds Road. They did a concert there. And this really, like, this was actually towards the end of my church going experience the last time, because I'm going to hit the topic here in the comments here in a couple minutes, but I got to tell the story. So I think we paid $20 to get in. So, I mean, like, that's something, like, as a Christian worship team, here again, this is all my opinion. You shouldn't be charging people to come watch you perform music. I mean, accepting a donation, because, I mean, there is a cost to gas, there is a cost of food, there is cost involved in being on the road, the equipment, blah, blah, blah. But you shouldn't charge $20 to come see you. It's not like it was a worship team. It wasn't an entertainment band. Like, I mean, Project 86 is a Christian band that I love. They're, hard rock, blah, blah, blah. I'd pay $20 all day to go see them, but they're there for the entertainment. They just happen to do Christian music. So we get in there after paying $20. Before the band even comes out on the stage, Pastor Pitts comes out, And he starts talking about, they play this beautiful video and all these poor people and, all this, you know, tornado, hurricane damage, hunger. It's like the Sarah McLachlan ad for the pets, but with people. So, I mean, it was really, really depressing and blah, blah, blah. And then it was okay, so I need your money so that I can fly around in a private jet so I can help these people. So $20 in, let's say I was moved by that video. And I actually, the whole time I watched it, I was like, you're kidding me. Like, I mean, you got $20, take a portion of that to spend to this, blah, blah, blah. And I do believe in giving to causes. I'm not saying anything about that, but a red flag went up right away that like, this is bullshit. So then the band starts, and maybe, a half hour, 45 minutes into it. And, all these Christians are, and I'm not picking on people that raise their hands in worship, but they're all, oh my God, it was such a great spiritual movement, and this and that, and the other thing. So the band stops. Then they play another video about how they need money for this project, and it's all beautifully produced. The music was in it, and it fit perfectly with the concert that they were doing. So it leads you to believe that, like, okay, so, this whole show is to get you to spend some money. So they do that. And, the purpose of the Christian religion is to get other people to, get saved. So we still haven't even talked about that yet, but we're in for $20, 2 donation opportunities. Bam. So then, the concert goes on again after, everybody gives more money to that and has the links now that they can go home and, talk to their retirement accountant and pull money out of their retirement so that they can go to heaven because they gave money to this. But anyway, that's just my thoughts. So they play some more music again. And then the guy stands up and he starts telling this story about how, in the song, of course, is called Break Every Chain, how they were there performing one night and the Spirit of God came on him, and, everybody was there, and he had certain people he could see were holding up chains, and God was moving through the crowd, and he was breaking these chains, and all these people got delivered. And, it's like I said, I really do think that I have the gift of discernment. And then it went from that, this beautiful story, and then they were going to do this healing on stage. And of course, we hit up for more money again. And like, he claimed to heal this guy of some kind of leg injury that, like, he, made the guy not be able to walk well. So, tells the guy he's healed and this and that and the other thing because he could break the chain. And, the dude literally fell down the steps, then walking off the stage. Like, I'm like, and all these people, they sit there and they just like, they buy it hook, line, and sinker, and they're all thinking this is the greatest thing ever. And me and my friend Ryan, we looked at each other, like, the whole time we were just looking at each other, and he must have the gift too, because we just like, dude, this is not right. Like, I mean, I guess the reason I'm telling this story is that I believe that there are a lot of things that are done in the name of God that are actually counterproductive. They are, they're actually, like, I don't want to say demonic, but they're sinful. And yeah, and like what Jerry said, like, some people just want something to believe in. That is, I don't know how many times that I've gone to church services where the church service wasn't based on the content of what was being preached or anything like that. It was whether or not this person's religious experience was good enough or not. Like, oh my God, like, I totally talked in tongues. And here again, I'm not saying that that's not a legit thing or anything like that, but like, it wasn't a good service because I didn't talk in tongues. That's, I've heard people say that, or I really didn't feel the Spirit of God moving in there. But even though it was, I'm walking out of there like, oh my God, that's a really good message. Like, that makes sense. And, I should, I'm taking something from that. But, that the religious experience is a lot of times the part of, how people judge, I guess, how good of a church service it was. Yeah. And you do have great showmen take advantage of that. Okay. So I don't know how we got into talking about churches instead of spirits and ghosts, but I think it kind of all ties together. because I'm kind of telling my story of why I'm conflicted a little bit. I'm not so much anymore because I think I have it figured out, at least a way that makes sense to me, how like you can be a Christian and be involved with the paranormal. And in fact, I think especially if you're going to do private cases and things like that, like I really think that like that gives you an advantage sometimes, because you can not that you go preachy to people, and because I've never done that, but like, you can offer a different perspective into the spirit realm that like, God, here again, the paranormal people are going to hate me, but like, I'm just not a big fan of like crystals and sage and things like that. I just don't think, I don't think that stuff does anything. And there again, I could be dead wrong and not know what I'm talking about. And, but I do accept that. I just don't, I just, I would never ever run around wearing a crystal thinking I'm protected. I mean, that's just there again, my opinion. So, okay, I guess one more last thought on the modern day church, and then I'll get off the church topic. See, Adam hates me already. I knew I'd make enemies. But here's another phenomena, I guess, within the church and how things are structured and, that kind of stuff is there's a lot of corporate church. Um, there's a church in town, a very, very big and popular one with multiple locations that when you're on their website, and I haven't done this for 4 or 5 years, but like when I went on their website, first of all, they're tied to a corporate church. So this little church here has this big church up here that sponsors this one, this one, this one, this, multiple churches. It's a corporation. And when you go on the local church's website, within about 2 clicks, you're automatically put onto the corporate, the head church. And it's and then within a couple clicks of there, you're, of course, video pop-up ads about giving money to the little African kids again that are getting eaten by flies and mosquitoes and all that other stuff. And so there's always that appeal to your heart thing that they like to do to get your money. And I'm not saying, and also, well, I'll say that later. But so within a couple clicks, you're within there. And also, there was no, my opinion, if I had a church, a Christian church, the first thing on there would be the plan of salvation. I mean, that would be all over the website, not donate here, donate there, not that stuff. This corporate church, their whole thing was all these seminars that they put on. So it's almost like Shackley. Like, they're the mother group and they have all these little, things that kick up top. Like it's a pyramid scheme. And they had all these seminars that you could pay, $350 to go to 3 nights of learning how to grow your church. It was always about growing your church, not, like I said, not the plan of salvation, not lessons or, things that people can take and live their life with. It's always about growing your church. And that really just like, it seriously made me sick. Okay. Lisa's saying being an open-minded doesn't make one evil. I agree. And that's where I conflicted, is that like, so, I've heard since kindergarten all the way through high school. And, I went to a lot of churches throughout my life that like, man, if you get into that stuff, you're bad. If you listen to rock, you're bad. If you're evil. It's all from the devil. And really, so I guess maybe I'll try and wrap it up with this. Like, I really think that like, I think, if that's your calling or your whatever, I really do think that certain Christians should be involved in the paranormal, because you bring that spiritual world perspective on, on things that like some people need to hear it. Now, I wouldn't go into say a Muslim's house and, you need Jesus and this is the way. And, I wouldn't invoke the name of Jesus into a Muslim's house. That's a case that I personally would not take part in, because that's not my shtick. Same with Catholics. Like I'm not a Catholic, so I can be involved in that case, but that's not my case to handle. Now, we have done cases where the people say that they're Christians and that's the church background that they have. And, so I have gotten into the religious aspect of what could be going on in their house. a lot of times too, it seems like, like, well, yeah, we used to go to a Christian church when I was a kid, but I haven't gone in years, and this and that and the other thing. And sometimes it's just a matter of, well, maybe you need to you know, look back into it. So I'm going to put a couple comments up here. Don says it's the opposite. Being closed minded moves you closer to evil. I absolutely 1,000% agree with that. Like I said, Don, I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm not here to say that I get along with most people. Um, but if you tell me that Buddha is your God and that you're a Buddhist, that's not gonna. Well, I can't hang out with this guy, or I don't like this guy because he's a Buddhist. Like, I would never, ever, ever in my life of any religion, like, be that as a basis for a friendship or anything like that. The Native American stuff. I like, and that being said too, I do believe there's a lot we can learn from other religions. Personally, my thing is the one thing that separates is how to get to heaven. But there's a lot of stuff that we can learn from a lot of other religions. So I never ever would shun anybody for their religion. Yeah, and Joe, that's something else I did too. And Joe says in churches that bash other churches, like, there's a lot of that happens too. Like, that being said, I just ranted for 10 minutes, um, bashing a couple churches, but I do believe if you see bullshit going on in the church that you need to call it out, because that's not bashing the church or the religion. It's like, your job is to get people to come to Christ. It's not to take my money. It's not to take their money. It's not to prey on, the people with good intentions and take their money. Because a lot of that stuff, honestly, a lot of that money goes to management and, fees, the cost involved in running the network. It doesn't really get to the ground. That being said, though, like I said, I am all about giving to groups and charities and things like that. Like, okay, you guys are going to hate me again for this, but I listened to Glenn Beck quite a bit. And like, within 3 days, his audience gave, and he begged for it. I mean, he didn't try and trick you into it. He begged for it, but he raised $30 million in 3 days to go fly people out of Afghanistan. And like, I probably should have kicked in a couple bucks, but like, that's not, he was straight up. He just said, look, I need $20 million. This is what I want to do with it. I'm not appealing to your heartstrings, but we got to get these people out of there. So, giving to groups like that, you don't always have to go through a church. Like, I've seen too, like, if you're going to give to a group, you should probably research their website and, like, look at how much administrative costs they have versus what actually goes to the people. But anyway, I guess it's, that's a grassroots. All of that money that he raises for that Nazarene fund, it went to help get people out. That's what it was. He doesn't get paid for that. He doesn't make a dime off of it. But there's costs involved. You gotta buy planes. You've got to have security. You've got to have this and that, and it cost that much money to get those people out. So I have no problem with people donating to good causes like that. I have no problem with people asking for it. Where I have the problem is when you show me the little African kid with the flies all over his face and then say, give me your money. Yes, the Bible does say expose false prophets. And I think I again, my personal opinion, I think there's a lot of that going around, but I also think, I think some of these pastors and churches, like, their intentions are good. They just, went astray, I guess. They went down the feelings part in the, instead of what the Bible actually says, because it is a Christian philosophy or a principle to give to the church. Like, you're supposed to tithe 10%. That's very biblical. And I don't have any problem sitting through a sermon where the pastor gives a sermon about tithing, because it is a biblical principle. It's like I said, again, when they start pulling at your heartstrings and try to get you to, try to guilt you into giving them money. So we are 45 minutes into this, and I thought this was like a 10 or 15 minute topic. I might go back up to some of the comments, because Dana had, like, I know Dana had a good idea about, like, maybe we should get some other, clergy from other churches, or, things like that. Let's see, where was that? Yeah. See, okay, Shelly, that's another thing. My initial thought on demonologists is this, is I know, I think it's fairly easy. Like I'm pretty sure that there's some legit ones out there that have legitimate, studied it for years and not, the weekend online course. And, now they're a new demonologist. Like, so I don't, one of the things with the demonologists is where, like, okay, demons are specifically a Christian thing. I don't know that the churches run these demonology courses. And I don't know like who runs them, who, where, like, what information they teach. A lot of it I don't think is biblical from what I've seen. Like, but here again, you can't judge on TV shows either. But like, I'm just not a big believer, I guess, in the demonologist people. Like, there's ways to learn about demons, but I just don't think that they're, here again, my personal opinion. Take it for what it's worth. Um, so yeah, that was a comment about the demonologist. But but there again, I would love to have a demonologist on my show. I'm not a Catholic. I would love to have a Catholic priest on my show talk about exorcisms and, things like that, and what the Catholic Church believes about the paranormal and ghosts and spirits, and like, should we be doing this? And the Catholics are actually very anti ghost hunting and things like that. Like, if you ask to go, you know, investigate in a Catholic cemetery, there's absolutely no chance that you're going to get in there. Like, they just, anything paranormal, boom. Let's see, bring up teams that have. Do we need to bring up teams that have? Oh, did I, Don? I don't think I brought up any teams that do. And there again, I'm not saying that demonologists are wrong. I don't have a lot of, because there again, it's sometimes if I don't put a lot of stock in something, it's not because I think they're wrong. It's because I don't know about it. I don't know what a demonologist, like, I don't know what is required to be a demonologist, because I don't think that's something that the church passes out. Oh, Don brought up some, I don't know. We got puppy conversations going on. We got Dad's chiming in. Just so y'all know, my dad and I have been talking a little bit lately. Jack Schlachter's in here watching tonight. Let's see, it's your show. You can do whatever you want. All right, thanks you. Yep. Doesn't the Bible say not to mess with spiritualists? See, and that's okay. Vicky has a good question. This is one that, like, I mean, I think it does in the example of where I think it was King Saul was consorting with, like, the witches to, basically, he wasn't talking to God, he was talking to the witches instead. Um, and I think that the whole big problem with that was it was a lack of faith in going to God with your questions and for your, on what to do and your guidance and things like that, is that Saul didn't want to wait for that. He wanted to go directly to the witches. And I think the witches too were, gosh, I wish I remembered this story. I wish I would have time to, like, actually research this topic. We might have to talk about this again sometime, because I've been just rambling and wandering. But the Bible definitely says to stay away from magic. I do know that. Like, it says stay away from, like, the witchcraft, stay away from the fortune telling and things like that. That I absolutely do know. So other than that, Vicky, that's actually, you could almost, we're 50 minutes in, but you could almost do a whole show based on that topic. Okay, so now I'm going to read the Bible cover to cover, so I'm better informed. Actually, Don, I'm not telling you to do this, but let's say you have no religious beliefs at all. Let's say you're, or let's say you're, Jewish or Buddhist or something like that. I really think that, like, it it will serve you good to read the text of any religion. Like I should be reading the Quran. I mean, it's like, because like I said, there's a lot of the Muslim stuff that I won't talk about because I don't know about it. Well, there's nothing wrong with going and reading a book from cover to cover, even if you don't believe it. At the end of the day, like, obviously I'm not going to be into anything that Hitler says, but like, there's, I think you can get some good use out of reading Hitler's Mein Kampf. I mean, if nothing else, you can get like, okay, this is what not to do, so like, as a Christian, it would serve me good to read, the Satanic Bible. I mean, it's always good to, you're never shorting yourself if you're gaining information, in my opinion. Just make sure it's good sources, because there's a lot of people that will have opinions on, the Christian religion, but make sure you're reading, what the actual Bible says, not what this person's opinion is. And that's where, like I said, I guess kind of maybe to try and wrap this up, like, my whole life I've been taught what to think about certain parts of the Bible, certain parts of the Christian religion. And then, in later in life, I found that a lot of it is, it's your opinion, it's your interpretation, and it's not necessarily accurate. So, yeah, like Carmen says, we're all here to learn. That's absolutely true. I pissed Jerry off with the Catholic stuff. Dude, there again, I'm not picking on Catholics. I'm not bashing Catholics. I just don't know why they think they have the monopoly on demons. That pisses me off. I can't deal with that. Just kidding. It's just anytime demons are brought up, everybody says, "Oh, you got to do an exorcism." Well, that's Catholic specific. There's no Christian that will run around and do an exorcism on you or your house or anything like that. So, okay. And this, how many times do we hear someone say, so and so says this, but we never check it out? That is 1,000 times true. Don, you took the last class that we did at Owens, and we're doing it again in October. But like, you saw my presentation. It was about the equipment that we use and this and that, and the other thing. And that is so true, that like a lot of paranormal people love to run around and say certain things that they've heard. I'm sorry, I'm reading the comments, but they like to say things that they've heard that sound true, but are they're not true at all. And and that's kind of frustrating, because we all run around and say these things, and I've said it too there again, but then I did research, and it's like, you know what? That's not even true. Like, our EMF detection equipment that we run around with cannot possibly detect the EMF that a human body emits. So how can we run around saying that we're detecting spirit EMF with this device? But that's there again, that's a whole nother topic too. Let's see. All right, Joe, we'll talk to you later, buddy. Joe, I thought about actually but see, and here's another thing. I stress out about stupid shit. So that's just me. But like, so when I got my message last night from Christopher St. Booth, I was like, okay, I got to scramble and get a guest on and other things. But like, so I'm going to have Joe on sometime, but I don't want Joe to think like, oh, dude, you're the afterthought. You're the fill-in. You're the, so Joe, that's why I didn't call you last night to say, hey man, can you come on my show? I'm definitely going to have you on, because I got a specific stuff that I want you to talk about. And got on, someone is saying bye-bye to me. Yeah. Joe Vitale, how you doing? Joe sells haunted objects, I believe. I think that's where I've seen his name before. Joe, go ahead and plug your site that you said. I think it's Haunted Crap, I think, is where he sells it. And I hope Joe, I hope you don't take, I don't know how long you've watched or anything like that, but I did talk about, like, personally, I don't think, like, okay, and I probably shouldn't even say this, because I'm just going to piss you off and you're somebody new watching, but like, I don't think that you can sell somebody something that has a demonic attachment to it. Oh, okay. So I'm talking to the wrong Joe. God damn. Okay. I apologize. So we good, because we don't need to get into this topic now. But I was going to say, like, I don't think, so there is a Joe that sells haunted stuff, and I think some of the things might be claimed to be demonic, and I'm not saying that he's saying that to, because he gets items from people and basically tells their story to sell his items. But we talked about earlier, like, I don't think you can live with a demon in your house. There's no way to control it. So, okay. So, man, I am starting to really, really get scatterbrained. We're at 56 minutes in. So I think, I've rambled on enough. I do appreciate, man, I really thought like this was going to be a dull show and no one was going to watch because I'm rambling like an idiot. We're talking about Christianity. We're pissing off paranormal people, even though that totally was not my intent. And I hope no one holds anything I said against me, because I am very open-minded and all that good stuff. So I think we're just going to wrap it up. Like I said, next week, we're going to have Austin Menard on from the Underground Paranormal Network. He is definitely coming on next week, unless we have some bad internet topic. And Vicky chimed in with a great topic. It is, Vicky, it's something I've always wanted to talk about. And I do want to have, like, I wish I could have the pastor of the church that I went to. I don't think he'd come on and talk about this with me, but I'd love to have him talk about it, because, that dude knows the Bible more than anybody that I've ever seen in my life. Like, he knows it, and he can, well, he wouldn't be like me. Well, I think Saul did, you guys would definitely not like his conclusions, because he is very black and white on the topic and this and that, and the other thing, but he has accurate information as to what the Bible says. And he could argue with me on this, for days and days. So, Joe just, he says he just investigates. Paragear is a gimmick. Yes, I do believe that a lot of it is. But like I said too, when I did the class on the topic out at Owens with Togs, I do believe though that sometimes it does actually work, and you do get spirit manipulation, involved. But I don't think that, like, when your EMF meter goes off, that, oh my God, there's a ghost, because for some reason EMF equals ghost, and I just don't believe that. So there again, trying to wrap this up, and I'm horrible about wrapping the shows up. But so we got Austin next week. Hopefully I can line up Christopher for the following week. I don't know if I'd love to do the live show with him. Maybe we can just have his picture up somehow and, hear his voice, and, we can tell him the questions and comments, because like I said, man, dude has done some awesome stuff. I love the fact that they film in haunted locations. I love his documentaries. He does fiction stuff too. It's definitely on the gory side, but it's just really cool that dude filmed a movie in Toledo at the Collingwood. And I am like, and it's really got a good premise. So Don's telling me how to do this. Just put a cover over his webcam. I thought about that, but there again, it was 9:00 last night. I panicked. I didn't know what else to do other than just say, well, let's reschedule. So, okay, Dana's chiming in. We're definitely gonna be at the Oliver House on the 18th. The Owens class starts up again, and we're gonna put a schedule on the Facebook page and stuff, because we got a lot of events coming up where, library lectures and things like that we're doing with Togs. So, yeah, Shelly says she loves Christopher St. Booth. Yeah, dudes, and and especially from, coming from Adam too, because I know Adam comments about him a lot. Like, he sounds like a genuinely down to earth, nice dude. Like, I don't think he's got an ego. I don't think that's why he didn't want to do video. I just think, like I said, they got a brand to protect. And I 1000% understand that, because, you get somebody like that on, and, let's say, not that I would, but let's say like I was an asshole and decided to sandbag him. Well, now there's a video of me trying to sandbag him, and, and it's safer to not do that for people like him. So yeah, Adam and Shelly are chiming in. Everybody can see. But so we got these going on for the convention on the 18th. We got some cards. We got the new banner in the back. We might have some stickers. So come out to the Oliver House September 18th and stop by and say hi, get a DVD. We're going to be showing some videos. We're going to be there with Togs. We're going to show some Togs stuff. And hopefully y'all stop out, and we will see you then. So I'm just going to wrap it up. I was chastised last week for the way that I end the show with just a cutout. So I will say good evening, everybody, and we will see you again next week. Thanks for tuning in.